Okay, so anyway, original practices. So one of the things I learned when I was on my trip, one of the things I paid attention to, as I said, was the audience. Who are coming to these plays? Because Shakespeare was a populist. Shakespeare wrote plays for everyone. He managed to get members of the aristocracy and the working class and everyone in between into his house at the same time, and that fascinates me. How do you bring in a diverse audience and tell stories that everyone can touch? Shakespeare managed to do that. And yet, in this country, in some communities, there's only a certain cross-section of the community that goes to a Shakespeare festival. And of the festivals I went to, the ones that were bringing in an audience that I imagined was similar to Shakespeare's original audience were the ones that were investigating original practices, that were paying attention to how Shakespeare wrote the plays to be performed. Shakespeare wrote the plays at a time when lights did not go out on the audience, so the audience was in plain view, and actors were speaking directly to the audience. We call it direct address. There's no kind of imaginary, fourth wall. There's real, actual communication with the audience. There's also actors making their own music. There's lots of doubling of roles. We think that Shakespeare's acting company was maybe 15 people who played all the different parts. And there's lots of ways to sort of enhance the storytelling of a play by seeing an actor playing more than one role. A great example in our season is in Macbeth, where Tom Quinn plays the king Duncan and the porter. What I think is interesting about it is that Duncan is the king who Macbeth kills. And the first person that Macbeth sees after he kills Duncan is the porter. So it's interesting that he would walk out and look at this man who happens to look an awful lot like the guy he just killed. That's the kind of stuff I love. So those are some of the things that we wanted to explore in this season, and that I invited all three directors. I mean, I hired three directors who I knew would investigate that kind of theatricality, but I invited them all to sort of incorporate, not religiously, but to play with direct address, speaking to the audience directly, having actors make their own music, and doubling of roles, and trusting in the language, letting the scenic elements be relatively simple, and making it about this beautiful language ripping through actors' bodies, And I think that all three directors have succeeded in doing that.